Hello, everyone. Welcome to Heart Center Tarot. As always, my name is Marina, and I will be your guide for this portion of the journey. And please help me welcome back to the channel. Oh my gosh, I forgot to turn that down. Please help me welcome back to the channel, Mel DOERR, the Aloha Shirt Psychic.
Hey, Mel. How are you, Marina?
I am well. I'm well, and I'm so glad to hear that you're getting better. You're getting better.
I went to the surgeon yesterday, and he discharged me. I was going to say he dismissed me. He just both. He said, I don't have to see him anymore unless I have some issues. So that was good. And I asked him what I could eat now, and he said, anything you want.
Oh, okay.
In the hospital, they told me, it had to be low residue. So on my way home, I stopped and I got a salad because I have not had a salad in like 3 months. I'm sorry, 2 months. And I'm like, I got to have a salad.
Yes. So, yeah. It's amazing when the doctor says, you have to be careful what you eat, how all of a sudden you crave things.
I was always meat and potatoes, and then I had open heart surgery. And this is a bag of ice. I've got tendonitis, so I'm putting it on my on my ankle. It was like before I had open heart surgery, I was like meat and potatoes. But I mean, then I love to cook, so I got creative with vegetables. And I never thought I'd say this, but I missed my veggies. So
yeah, I think they generally they will form the a large portion of my diet if I can get them in there, especially supper time.
There you go.
Yeah, if I can, love all kinds of vegetables. Nothing is off limits, and try anything once. So
I had a salad yesterday, so there you go.
Oh, lovely. So hello, just quickly to Catherine Rodier. Hello, welcome. Thank you for that lovely donation. Maureen D'Amico, Dawn Turner, Julianne Guthrie Smolson, Bunny Young, Donna Marie, Connie B, Mary Starshine. Thank you guys for joining us. There's a few of you that are sitting back that are not saying anything. That's all right. You can just sit back and listen. And if you don't want to chat, you don't have to. It's okay. And for those of you that are watching the show in replay, thank you. Thank you and welcome. Hope you enjoy this.
Thank you to the subscribers, to our members. And
yes.
And, Marina's channel, everybody thumbs up. Heart Center Tarot. And there you go.
Thank you.
And mine, Aloha Shirt Psychic. If you like it, thumbs up, subscribe, and there you go. So
it doesn't cost anything to subscribe, and I have Mel's details in the description of the video. So make sure that you do that. And hello to Elizabeth and Sherry, CC Angel, Garnet. Hello.
One of these, thumbs up.
Yes. Janet Covington said, I just had a root canal. Ooh.
Oh.
No.
Canal.
Just no.
I'll trade you.
Yeah. So are you back up slowly doing readings?
I'm normally I see about 5 clients a day, 5 days a week. But lately it's been like 3 clients a day. And then one day last week I had to take off because my colon, occasionally it acts still a little wonky. It's not painful like it used to be. And, it's funny. I didn't realize how sick I was until after I had the surgery.
Yes.
And, for a couple months, I was really sick. I mean, I just walked around like in kind of chronic pain and just feeling bloated and just miserable.
Yes.
And so now I feel a lot better.
Yes. And you know what? I totally understand that, because when we're sick, generally it doesn't really happen overnight.
Right.
It takes a little bit of time. So it's like, you're feeling a little not okay today, and then tomorrow it's a little not okay on top of the yesterday and whatnot. And you're right, it isn't until after you feel better that you go, oh, that didn't work out well.
I still feel some pain at the incision sites. There's
Yes.
4 incisions. 3 of them are about like that, maybe not even a centimeter, half centimeter, about like that.
Yeah.
But there's one about like that. That's about 4 inches, I think. Yeah. That's where they had to take everything out.
Yes.
But other than that, I mean, it's more like, when you get like a really sore muscle, it's like that,
Yes.
the abdomen. But I'm okay. So
Good. Good. So glad to hear it. So glad to hear it. And Sherry, thank you for sending the message. And by the way, for those of you who don't know, today is Sherry's birthday.
Hey.
Yes.
Connie B says that she got Androniki products. This is Androniki.
Nice.
So everybody try them out. It's not going to break the bank. They're really wonderful. My friend Andrew came up with this idea, and it's nice to see it to come to fruition. He was on the show yesterday with Linda and I, but when he first sent me some and I tried it, I'm like, this stuff is great. And like I said, it won't break the bank. So
exactly. And I know Sherry got a package. She's been really, really happy with it. And so she was telling me about it. And I said, yeah, absolutely. I'll try it out, because as it happened, I've been searching around for a new skincare line.
There you go.
I've been using Elizabeth Grant for years and years, and it's time for a change.
Well, here you go.
So, yeah.
This is the name of the product, Andrew plus Nikki. But to go to the website is Andrew-Nikki. That takes you to the website.
Perfect.
But this is the name of the product. So
excellent. Yeah, excellent. Fabulous. And Sherry, if you have a chance to put that website in the chat, by all means, please do.
Sherry, Voices from the Swamp. How are you, love?
Yeah. And we've got Celtic Tarot Sheila is here. Hey, Sheila. Nice to see you here. Sheila is going to be joining me next Tuesday.
Yay.
Yeah. And we'll be doing a show together. So I'm looking forward to. June is going to be a fabulous month. So now I wanted to ask you, what are your feelings on the new Pope?
It's funny. He was elected. Well, he was elected so quickly.
Yes.
And the day that, I had seen white smoke coming out of the Vatican, the Sistine Chapel, for, 3 or 4 months, for quite a while. And then, it was the dark smoke. And then the white smoke came out, and they were like, okay, we're going to announce who the new Pope is. And then our internet went out.
Oh.
And that was on May the 8th. And I was going in for surgery. I'm like, oh, man. So I was in the car, and we put the car radio on. And it said it was the first American Pope, and that he was born in Chicago. I cried. I said, oh, this is the best news. I was on my way to the hospital for surgery. I'm a Catholic, not a very good one, but
hey,
in name only. I wave at the church when I go by.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily believe in a lot of the dogma, but I had said that when they elected a new pope, before Pope Leo was elected,
yes,
that we would have a pope who would embrace peace and who would open his arms to a lot of people that traditionally the church hasn't. And I think, would carry on in some of what Pope Francis had done too. And, this Pope came forward and said that the church, I don't know quite how he said it, but that LGBTQ people were welcome to come to Mass and come to the church. His doctrine on gay marriage is, the church doctrine, the church dogma.
Yes.
But I think this Pope is going to reform the church a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, this country, America, clearly needed some good news.
Yes.
And that was wonderful news, I think. And the fact that he's from Chicago, in fact, that house that he grew up, Dalton, it's a suburb of Chicago. Some guy had bought it and renovated it. That area is kind of, but now I'm sure they'll make it a shrine and where he went to church and all that stuff.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because apparently he talked about being a priest and being the Pope from a very, very early age.
Yes, he did.
So, talk about fulfilling your destiny.
Right. There you go. So I really like this Pope. Francis is a hard act to follow.
Yes.
But I had, my light bulb went on in the car, my psychic light bulb. And when they said, Leo the 14th, I thought, the light bulb wasn't kind of my guides were saying that before Pope Francis died, he had brought Leo from Peru, I think, to the Vatican to help put cardinals in places.
Yes.
Now, all cardinals are bishops, but not all bishops are cardinals.
Yes.
So Pope Francis was putting the cardinals in that he wanted there, obviously, that would carry on, I think, with Francis's work. And I also had the epiphany that my intuition tells me, my guides tell me, that Pope Francis, before he died, he knew he was sick and he knew his time was limited, but called on many cardinals and said, at my death, here's who I recommend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
I think so.
He had put that ball rolling, if you will, even before his death. I think there was like one conservative cardinal that was kind of in the running. I don't know who, but the fact that it happened so quickly, and that was just affirmation to me that Pope Francis, before he died, had kind of set things up, I think. Yes. I don't think it was rigged at all, but kind of set it up by virtue of the fact that he brought Leo to the Vatican to help put cardinals in place. And that's kind of a long process.
It is. Yeah, it doesn't happen overnight.
So it let him meet other cardinals and get acquainted with them. And, and as it turned out, this cardinal's Augustinian, and the Augustinians believe in peace.
Yes.
So,
and taking care of, the marginalized and, the unseen. That's what they do.
And that's what Pope Francis was about, the marginalized too. So, I think this Pope will be a real unifying force. I still don't like the church's doctrine that, gay people, they don't recognize gay marriage. But I still, at some point, maybe see the church open to a lot sooner than later civil unions and things like that. Mm-hmm. I also see this Pope broadening women's role in the church.
I hope so. When I just happened to be online watching when I got the feed that, white smoke. So I went over very quickly and I was looking at, waiting for the announcement. And my initial reaction when they said, the first American Pope, I went, oh no, because it just felt like it just didn't quite feel like that's what the world needed, was whatever American. But I sat there and I watched, and when he came out, it's like I could literally feel the full body shivers, and totally did a 360, because all I could see emanating from him was compassion and humility, and just the acceptance. Um, it felt like he was giving me a great big hug. And I thought, okay, no, never mind. Put aside the American part and just go with the person that he is. And then I did a little more research on the on the Augustinians and his background, and I thought, oh, he's perfect.
It's
for the
funny,
role.
when I first saw him as well, I had the feeling like this is just somebody who wants to hug you.
Yes.
And somebody who is very embracing and not judgmental and all of that. And, being an American, the fact that he was, from the United States helped a lot. But, he's the first North American Pope, we should say.
Yes. And
that entails Canada too, as far as I'm concerned.
Exactly. And you know what? I think that for me, part of that initial American reaction is, I know in the back of my head, it was like, oh, who is going to be taking credit and, getting in there and doing all kinds of stuff. But no, he's been fairly quiet. And I like the fact that that Leo was very outspoken about certain things. And
Pope Francis, before he died, spoke up to J.D. Vance.
Yes.
And this Pope,
yes,
as well. The thing that frosted me is all of a sudden, a certain news outlet that we all know is controlled by Taco.
Yes.
Cittadini.
Taco. Absolutely.
Said, well, he didn't speak English. Well, number one, he's in Italy. And the language of Italy is Italian.
Yes.
My computer's emulating me. I don't know. But the first thing he said when he stepped on the balcony is, "Peace be with you." The first words out of his mouth were English. So I'm like, they don't know what they're talking about.
Exactly. Exactly. And that he naturally, the Vatican, it's Latin, it's Italian. It's, there's so many languages from different representatives that are in the Vatican. It doesn't have to be just English. And of course he speaks English.
Right.
You can't.
He speaks Chicagoese.
Yes.
Here in Chicago, it's funny. We have this short A, like, in the South is a back. Yeah. Here it's back. Bag. That's short eh. Yeah. Chicago is famous for that. And
as well as the deep deep dish pizza.
The deep dish, everybody talks about Chicago pizza, but I have been here for so long that to me the deep dish pizza, it's like actually like a pie and to stuff whatever you want.
Yes.
Sometimes it's just too doughy for me. It's good, but if you really want something good, get a Chicago style hot dog. Now that you're cooking with gas.
Exactly. Oh, perfect. And thank you to those of you who have just come in over the last little while. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for supporting me, and thank you for supporting Mel. And if you haven't already done the thumbs up, do it now. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And I've got Mel's info in the description of the video. So, and I mean, really, how many of you have not heard of Mel, the Aloha Shirt Psychic?
There you go. Thumbs up.
Yes.
Somebody's asking if Lily Larson's asking if you can purchase the product in Europe. I don't know. I would assume you can. I do not know. But if you just go to Andro-Nikki on the website, you can ask if you can purchase it in Europe, and someone will get back to you. So,
yep, there you go. There you go. I can't. You know what? I can't wait for the product to arrive. And I was thinking last night, I wonder if I should do maybe some before and after photos. Just to have just to have a comparison. But
I would put all the serums. There's 7 of them, and then there's the moisturizer. What I do is I put the moisturizer, and then I use all seven serums and just rub it here and on my hands. I think that some of the serums are on back order.
Yes,
I think it's about a 4 or 5 week back order, which is a good thing. That means the products are doing well. So there you go.
That's exactly what I said to Sherry in an email earlier. I said, yeah, if it's on back order, it's because it's popular and it works.
There you go.
So, yes.
I do think you can get it in Canada. Hi, Viviani. I see there's our Sherry.
Yes.
The psychic dummy. I met that person in Chicago.
Nice.
Mel and I want to get matching Hawaiian shirts. There you go, girlfriend.
Perfect.
I'd always wanted to play with a ventriloquist dummy, if you will, and she kind of showed me how it worked. It was so cool.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, she can do ventriloquism. I can't do that.
No. Yeah, you can see my lips moving. So.
Can I bring up something? Of course. I was kind of before the show looking at some things. I'm still at my office. I've got tendonitis, so my husband's going to pick me up. But, many of us in the community, and this is a wonderful community, and thanks, Marina, for having me on. Many of us in the community had predicted, this huge rift that's going to take place between Elon Musk and Citolini.
Yes.
And boy, it looks like that war has begun.
Yes.
I think this is the beginning of the end of Doge. But I took perverse pleasure when Musk called Trump's big, beautiful bill a disgusting abomination. And that's exactly what it is, in my opinion.
Yes.
And remember when Trump said, "Oh, I can't get rid of the guy. He's always with me, blah, blah, blah." Now Trump wants to get rid of him.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. The sacred rule that Elon Musk broke was he spoke against Cheeto.
Thou shalt not speak against the king.
Yes.
Thou shalt not speak against Taco.
Yes. I love the fact that they're calling him Taco.
Well, it's an insult to a taco. But
yes. And for those of you, if you haven't heard, apparently his press secretary or his mouthpiece, Carolyn Leavitt, they're calling her Taco Bell.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I laughed. I thought that is perfect. Yes, Taco and Taco Bell. So,
or how about Taco Hell?
Yeah, that too. I don't know how that woman can get up there with a straight face and say the things that she does and stick to her guns like she is. She's so superior to everyone. I know she's got children. How do you teach your children not to lie when that's basically what you do for a living?
Well, the hypocrisy of it, you shouldn't lie, but yet you're lying, right?
Yes.
You're right about that.
Yeah, exactly.
But like I said, I took perverse pleasure. I think Musk left the regime because he didn't like what was going on with Doge and all of this. But the better part of this is he also Musk, and I do not like Elon Musk, but
Yes.
entertainment purposes only. But when Musk called the bill a massive, outrageous, and pork-filled congressional bill,
Yes.
and then said, "Shame on those who voted for it. You know you did wrong. You know it."
Yes.
And I think Trump is spitting BBs. He's so mad.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
And for
And
those of you who don't know what taco means, it means Trump always chickens out.
yes. And he does. He does. He comes in like that full of bluster and, oh yeah, I go and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And then, when you stand up to him, okay, yeah.
Well, look at what happened in Canada. Oh, Canada's going to be the 51st state and I'm going to do this. And he was so horrible to Justin Trudeau, called him a governor, couldn't even be a governor. And now you guys have Carney,
yes,
who totally stood up against Trump. And
yes,
Trump and Elon Musk money couldn't buy the elections
exactly.
in Canada. And did you notice how now Trump is like shutting his mouth about Canada?
He's not saying too much. And I hope that, the advisors that are around him have pointed out that when you say things like, Canada has nothing we want, they have nothing we need. Okay, then you don't mind if we turn off the lights to the, half the eastern seaboard, right? We got nothing you want. But yeah, and I noticed that he's not quite talking about that too much.
Oh yeah, he was butting it.
It was beautiful,
and the fact that Canada stood up to him. I when I was talking to you on the phone yesterday, this was kind of cool. I said, Marina, let's say 10 years ago, 5 years ago even, if the king or the queen had come to Canada to give a talk or give a speech, or I forgot what to preside over
Parliament. Yeah, they're
right. Canadians would have been in a tailspin. But now the king came, and the timing was impeccable.
Yes.
And the king's speech was brilliant.
It was.
I got to give him credit for growing a set.
Yes.
He was very royal, very regal. Never mentioned Cittadini's name once, but what he said really, really stung. And notice that Trump didn't even. I don't know if Trump commented on it, but I don't know if he did. I don't think so. But it was brilliant. Yeah. It was brilliant on Carney's move too. So
yes.
The fact that Carney stood up to the bully and so did the king. It's like, look, the UK and Canada are solid, and we are going to back each other. That's
exactly.
a strong message to the world.
Exactly. I was a big supporter of Carney when we realized that he was going to be running. I was initially a little worried because I thought, okay, if Elon gets in there and if the money gets in there, we could be looking at Polyev, which was something that I absolutely did not want. When Trump spoke up, what he did was he galvanized the country, and people who had sort of paid attention were seriously paying attention and came to realize that, no, we don't want Trump 2.0 in charge of Canada.
Even, the MAGA Maples.
Yes.
Even Merz in Germany, he's a conservative, but he stood up against Trump.
Yes.
And, they underplayed it. Putin was trying to weaken the EU and NATO, and guess what? It blew up because it is the European Union and NATO that are really standing up for Ukraine.
Exactly.
And Canada as well.
Exactly.
I saw somebody here put the big, beautiful bill, the big billionaires bill. I call it the big BS bill.
Yeah, that too.
That only passed the House by one vote. So we'll see what happens in the Senate. And now Rand Paul, who's an arch conservative, talked against it. And now Trump is attacking Rand Paul.
Who hasn't he attacked? The minute that you, the minute that you say anything against him, he's useless. Never. These are people that you have in your cabinet. These are people that you appointed.
That's
Did you not know that they were not fit for the job before you appointed them?
That's right.
Like the head. Oh my gosh, I couldn't believe this when I heard it last night. The guy, and I don't even know what his name is, but he's head of FEMA. He did not, and he said this in front of other people, that he had no idea that there was a hurricane season in the U.S.
Please. Here,
Are
you
you
see
serious?
this bell? This bell is my BS bell.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Everybody hears about my BS bell. You've just seen it, everybody.
That's it. Yes. Yeah. And Sherry Freebury wanted to know, do I think Poilievre will take that seat in Alberta and win it? I am seriously and desperately hoping not. I've stayed away from it because I didn't want to get into it.
What kind of seat is it?
Well, one of the things, aside from the fact that Poilievre didn't win the becoming prime minister, he also lost his seat in Ontario. So he's now the leader of the official opposition, but you can't be in Parliament unless you're holding a seat. So Alberta, which is consider Alberta a very, very red state, right? It's akin to the red state. So they went looking for a seat in Alberta. And of course, Poilievre doesn't live in Alberta, where the person who won the seat won it with like 82% of the votes or something. It was clear-cut victory for him. He is 6 months away from getting his full pension, the government pension for serving as a member of Parliament. And all of a sudden he volunteered to give up his seat so that they could have a by-election so that Poilievre could run.
Sounds like that somebody was getting some money under the table to me.
Sounds like. Yeah, very, very much so. So I'm really hoping that the people who voted for the first guy, when they do the by-election, say, oh, hell no. No.
That's exactly what's going to happen. How do you pronounce his name? Poilievre?
Poilievre, yeah.
I call him Polly Parrot.
Yeah. Or PP. It's Pierre Poilievre. Call him PP. Everybody else does.
So PP, if you will. My feeling is the same thing that's going to happen in Alberta is the same thing that happened throughout Canada, in that people are tired of the MAGA maples.
Yes.
They're tired of the MAGAs. And my feeling is, I'm sure that, Trump and Putin and, I'm sure that they're going to, or maybe Musk, are to try to invest something in putting PP in office, thinking that could be a stepping stone and that would sway the Parliament. I could be dead wrong. But I still think it's going to coalesce voters in Alberta to say, yes, wait a minute. We don't want our elections bought.
Yes.
PP, you're a mega man, I can't start to say MAGA maple.
Yes.
And you're supporting a president of the United States who said that Canada should be the 51st state.
Yes.
So therefore, so everybody's going to coalesce against PP, exactly. I think. And exactly. I see, I don't see him in that seat.
From your mouth to God's ears. Because one of the as I said, Alberta is a very conservative province. It will vote against its own self-interest most of the time, but it will continue to be a conservative province.
But didn't Alberta also kind of stand firm for Carney?
No.
Oh, they didn't? Okay, I didn't know.
No, they fully supported Pierre Poilievre. In fact, the premier of Alberta, Danielle Smith, is she is very much a Trump supporter.
Right.
When
So
he was reelected, she couldn't get down to Mar-a-Lago fast enough to kiss the ring and to say, "Oh, listen, when it comes to the tariffs, not Alberta. We'll work with you, and we can do tariffs on all the other provinces." She is now wanting to put forward a referendum on Alberta seceding from Canada.
I was just thinking that.
Yeah.
But I guess my question is it legal in Canada for a province to say they are seceding? That's question number one. And number two, if she does that, I don't think that the people in Alberta, all of them would go along with it. She'd lose on.
Yes.
I mean, she would be sorely defeated because, and would it be possible then for Carney to say, wait a minute here, okay, you want to secede, you go right ahead, but the country of Canada is also imposing tariffs on Trump, on the United States.
Yes.
And you don't get to say to Trump, oh, don't put tariffs on Alberta. Those tariffs are for the whole country.
Exactly. So they're not. Yeah.
She's not just eyes. So the premier of a province would be like our governor to a state.
Yes.
All right.
Yes. Yeah. So before she announced that she wanted this referendum, there was a poll that was done. And again, I think it was well over 80% of the people said, no, we don't want to secede from Canada.
That's my point. So she's shooting herself in the foot. And by virtue of the fact that she's supporting Polly Parrott or PP,
yes,
it's not looking good.
No.
And
if she does,
there's a battle cry. Like, wait a minute here.
Yeah. And if she does want to push that referendum, it's going to backfire in an awful lot of ways.
Huge, Marina.
As an Albertan, my question to her would be, okay, you're going to secede. What currency are you going to use? Where's your military? Whereas, what, you think you're going to secede from Canada, but you're going to deal in the Canadian dollar? Oh, hell no.
And if she secedes, okay, then people in Alberta wouldn't be Canadian citizens, so they have to have their own passport.
Yes.
I think Canada would call in the military and say, oh, no, you ain't doing that.
Yeah. Nice try, but
if PP wins that seat, he's not going to stay in it long. So, and I think there's going to be some whistleblowers coming out saying, wait a minute, there were some underhanded shenanigans going on, and this guy resigning and to open this up to try to let PP take it.
Exactly.
And there's going to be whistleblowers coming forward to show that the premier of Alberta has received all kinds of things under the table from T-Rump.
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
And I'm glad we're talking about Canadian politics because we never get to discuss it.
I know. And that's, well, we're, as Arthur says, Canada is the apartment above the crack house. So, yes. But, we may be the apartment, but we have our own users up here too.
What was it that, oh yeah, I'm sure. What was it that the King said or Carney said about Canada? They're the strongest force in North America.
I think it was Canada, true North, strong and free.
There you go. I think, here again with what's going on with the premier of Alberta and Polly Parrott, it's Trump's way, Putin's way as well.
Yes.
and maybe Musk way of trying to weaken Canada. But here, to kind of whittle away at it like they did here. But here's the deal with that. It's not going to work.
Yes.
Because I remember I had said publicly, I said to Canadians, you must be very careful, because what happened here in the United States can very easily happen in Canada. And some people in Canada were mad. They said, how can you say that? We will band together. And I said, I hope you do.
Yes. That's the whole idea. But you don't, the last thing that we needed in this election was people to be complacent. And there was still a large number of people who didn't participate in the vote.
You got to vote.
Because
if you don't vote, you don't have the right to open your mouth.
Exactly.
And if you don't vote, then that's a vote for Polly Parrott.
Exactly.
Like people here who didn't vote, that was a vote for Trump.
Exactly. So, the idea that, oh, well, they're all the same. You know what, in your mind, if you think they're all the same, then make sure that you get out there and vote for the least offensive of the two. But you have to vote, because there will come a day when you may not have that opportunity anymore.
It's true.
I
think but I think in Canada, it wasn't let us hold our nose and vote for the lesser of the two evils. Carney really, really brought people together.
He did.
Here in this country, it was like, people were like, ugh, and I really think that he's going to continue to be able to hold it together.
Oh, I think so. He's a very smart man. He chooses his words carefully. He's a great orator, and he gets his point across without being aggressive.
Bingo.
Right, and that's what people they're looking for, leadership.
Bingo. Not dissension, anarchy, and chaos.
Exactly.
I want to ask real quick. I know it's your show, but I just kind of in Poland, it was really just this tiny lead that ultra right-wing conservative, I can't think of his name, he became the Polish president. But in Poland, I don't know the president, how much power they have, because the prime minister is more liberal. So people are saying, what's that going to do to Poland? Well, no matter what the liberals try to do, this guy's going to veto it. But I don't see this new president staying in power long. I see special elections coming in Poland. That's what I feel.
Yeah, because this is not what the people wanted, and more people are recognizing when something doesn't pass the smell test. Right? That we know that the U.S. election didn't go the way that it was supposed to. There's some finagling because the math doesn't add up.
Didn't add up in Poland either.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So there is that happening. And yes, Ron DeForest. Trump posted that Biden was executed in 2020 and replaced by a robotic clone that Democrats never noticed. Yes.
And could you believe that anybody would fall for that?
Yes, I know. Absolutely. But listen, speaking of Putin, what do you think about what the Ukrainians did to his Air Force?
I had that in my notes too. I still think Putin interfered in the election in Poland because that Polish president is very pro-Putin, anti-NATO, but it's not going to work. Poland will stay in the EU. They'll stay in NATO. Putin is so mad, he's spitting BBs.
Yes.
I had said, my guides had showed me that when Ukraine had those drones hidden and they use them for attacks,
Yes.
I said there's at least 5 other things they've got planned.
Yes.
And one is coming very, very soon.
Yeah.
And then today I read that they detonated that massive underwater blast targeting the rail bridge connecting Russian-occupied Crimean Peninsula with Russia.
Uh-huh.
And, there's going to be more surprise attacks that Ukraine got going against the Russian infrastructure. Yep. What really floored me is Russia had the gall to accuse Ukraine of carrying out terrorism, acts of terrorism. And I'm like, wait a minute. Now, what part of that did I miss?
Yeah.
Excuse me, who are the terrorists? Wasn't it Russia that attacked Ukraine unprovoked? Wasn't it Russia that invaded Ukraine?
Yeah.
Wasn't it Russia who targeted population centers in Ukraine with drones and everything else and killed innocent civilians?
Yes.
Ukraine is saying we're not targeting civilians, we're targeting military and infrastructure. Yes. So that's just Putin's spin. And he got caught with his pants down. And I'm telling you, within the next month, within days even, there's going to be another huge surprise attack that Ukraine has planned. They've been planning these for a very long time.
Yes, they have. Yes, they have. And the one of the things that they have that Ukraine has not done is they have not shared that information with Cheeto because they know full well.
Go back and tell Putin.
Exactly. Hey, Vlad, guess what?
Actually, I think that what's happening is Ukraine is going to start playing Cheeto-Leany and saying, oh, here's what we're planning, and then it doesn't happen, and then they do something else.
Yes, absolutely.
How do you say Mark Bryzoboy?
Yeah, Brisbaugh says, commander of Russian Air Force fell out of a window yesterday.
It must have been a first floor window.
Uh-huh. Yeah. And isn't it amazing that they just cannot train people in Russia to install Windows properly?
Exactly.
It's a countrywide problem. So,
boy, they got more people falling out those windows, I'm telling you.
I know.
And what does Putin think? The rest of us are so stupid we're going to believe that? Come on. He fell out of a window. Yeah, well, so is all your other enemies there, Vlad.
Yeah. I'll tell you something. I had an opportunity this weekend to have a chat with someone who is originally from Russia, has been in Canada for a good number of years, and I was very much taken aback when this person said that, Putin has got a lot of support and that they felt that Putin had done an awful lot of good for the country. I did not engage in a discussion. I simply said, let's agree to disagree, because there's
Chicago has a very big Russian population, a very big Ukrainian population.
Yes.
A lot of people from Belarus, the former Soviet Union.
Yes.
And a lot of the people from Russia that I know do not like Putin. Some do, but many can't stand him.
Yes.
Obviously, we know the Ukrainians can't.
Yes.
So I think in those countries from the former Soviet Union, more can't stand him than those who like him.
Yes.
But he did what Trump did. He played on, and exactly what that president in Poland's going to try to do, played on the nationalism of it all.
Yes.
Russia first, blah, blah, blah. But people are realizing that with his war and all of this, it's draining the Russian economy. Yes. And, one moment you've got your Gucci purse, you've got McDonald's, you've got this, you've got that. And the next you don't.
They're gone. Yes.
The other part of it is they were saying, in the Soviet Union, you had to stand in line for hours to get something, bar of soap, provided you could get it. But then somebody said, well, what's worse? standing in line waiting for it and you might not get it, or going to the grocery store and everything's there and not being able to afford to buy it.
Yeah.
So people in Russia, I think, are tired. They're tired of their kids getting killed.
Yes.
And not all Russians are bad people. It's just just the same as all Americans aren't bad.
Exactly.
They have a leader who is a power-hungry dictator.
Yep.
And so, I think some of the old timers in Russia might like Putin because they grew up under a Soviet system where they were told what to do, everything was paid, blah, blah, blah. And I think that explains it. But a lot of the younger people, like, let's say from anybody that grew up not in the former Soviet Union, many of them do not like Putin at all.
No, and they're basically limited in the information that they get. So his supporting him is based on propaganda, on information that is, we were invited into Ukraine because it was full of Nazis, and so here we are, we're trying to liberate the people of Ukraine.
Yeah, Zelensky is Jewish.
Yes. Yeah.
Putin used the same playbook that Hitler used when he marched into Czechoslovakia. Well, there's German-speaking people there, and look how they're treating them. Yes. And that's exactly what Putin did. Well, there's Russian people speaking there, and look how they're treating them. Well, hello, most people in Russia and Ukraine do speak Russian because it was part of the former Soviet Union.
Exactly. Very similar to the situation that was, in the former Yugoslavia, between Croatia, Serbia, and so on. When Tito was in charge, everybody got along because he was very vigilant about making sure that everyone was basically equal. It wasn't until after he died that all of a sudden you've got one party looking at the other going, hey, you know what? Those people are against you. They're stealing your jobs. Well, they're doing this, they're doing that. And so, you stir the pot and then you walk away.
Some of the countries, in the former Yugoslavia, wanted the old countries in Yugoslavia back, but the rest of them were like, no. So, they launched an attack against the countries who wanted their independence.
Yes.
It's just like Putin. He said he wanted the countries in the former Soviet Union back, and he said that any country that joined NATO after 1990 something, he wouldn't honor that. Well, hello, most of them joined after 1994, 95 because they had all the wars in Europe, and it was the breakup of the Soviet Union, and they joined NATO. So, he wants to weaken NATO, but it's not going to work.
No, it's not. More than anything, Europe is realizing the importance of NATO. That if we are as singular countries, we fall apart. As a union, we are much stronger. So naturally, you want to stay as a union.
I think Ukraine has a lot more Trojan horses. It really does.
Yes.
Yes. Gary just came to pick me up. He brought the dog. She ran in. I thought,
nice.
What you doing, girl? Did Papa bring you? She's like, she came in to say hi.
Oh, that is so sweet.
Oh, she got her toy. She got a new toy.
Love new toys.
Yeah, don't we all?
Yes. Yeah. So I just, Ron DeForest said that he took a screenshot of both you and I and turned us into Muppets through Chat GPT, and he sent it to our email.
Oh, thank you.
Yes. Yeah. So if you don't receive it, I'm going to send it to you anyway, just in case he only sent it to my email. But yeah, I'll definitely share that with you.
Here's a good question here. CDN Rose says, what do either of you think of Joni Ernst? Do you think she'll be able to keep her seat after the last stunt? No, she will not.
No,
Absolutely not.
that is that was the dumbest thing that she could have said. And then rather than just, simply say sorry, mea culpa, she does this apology video, which is basically one of these, to anyone who questioned her about, well, we're all going to die. Yeah, you're right. We're all going to die. You first, Joni.
What was the comment exactly? I've forgotten exactly what it was.
Someone in the audience, they were talking about Medicare and Medicaid cuts and so on. And someone in the audience had yelled, your people are going to die. And she said, oh, well, we're all going to die. Come on, folks, we're all going to die. As if that makes all the difference in the world. Oh, well, we're all going to die. Well,
cake, right?
Yes. Yeah. And where did she do her apology video? In a cemetery.
It's like, let them cut the Medicaid for the poor and the people, the marginalized, because they don't deserve to live. That's exactly what she said.
Exactly. And what? Oh no, this we're not cutting Medicaid. We're cutting waste. When you
if you're cutting waste, Joni, why don't you cut your salary? Exactly. And you've got great healthcare insurance. The rest of us don't. So why don't you cut your healthcare insurance, and then we'll talk.
Exactly. And why not have, why are you giving tax cuts to the rich? Why not have them pay income tax? Because they can afford it. Why don't, if they paid income tax, you wouldn't need to make cuts to Medicare. You wouldn't need to make cuts to SNAP. You wouldn't need to start closing down departments and so on. And it's just, it boggles my mind.
Me too.
Yeah.
Here in Chicago, it's going to get down into I think it was 83 today, 30 Celsius, but it's going to get a little bit colder tonight. But we've been having a lot of haze, believe it or not, from the fires in Canada. A lot of people think, wonder how something that far could affect us here. Well, it just goes to show how one thing can affect everything else. I mean, it was really hazy out. You could actually smell.
Yes.
And so somebody in the comments put sending prayers for Canada with the fires that's happening there. So evidently there must have been huge fires, because we got the some of the smoke and the haze here in Chicago for 2 or 3 days. So
yes. Yeah.
Where are they burning, Marina?
I do believe that Saskatchewan, I think there is some in northern Alberta. And I'm not sure, to be honest with you, where else. But I've just picked up on, little snippets here and there where they are talking, about wildfires and fires. Yeah, First Nations people are being evacuated from their homes. Manitoba, which is the next province, east. It's a couple provinces east. So that would definitely have an effect on Chicago, because I think they're right above you. So
they are.
Yeah.
So everybody, let's send healing energy to Canada to get the fires under control.
Yes, absolutely. And also to those in the U.S. that are experiencing, heavy rain and possible tornadoes and storms. Let's keep you all safe, and put up that protective shield around yourself.
Marina, I've got to run. Gary's here to pick me up.
Yes.
But
thank you. I was just going to say, Yeah, he's there. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for
Hopefully
having
we'll
me.
have a chance to do this again. I know it's been a minute, but you've been dealing with stuff, so
Let's do it
absolutely.
again.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I
So
enjoyed it, and I liked also giving some predictions for Canada today.
yes, wonderful. So thank you all of you for joining us. Really appreciate you being here. Thank you again, Mel, and we'll chat and we'll do this. We'll do this again. So thank you all, and we'll see you later. Bye for now.
Okay.